Good morning.
Good morning.
How are ya?
Tired.
Yeah. I was sitting and grading papers and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get into the meat. So you guys will have some things coming in. I don't know if you, yeah, you guys won't until today, but by the end of the week, we'll have 3 assignments in and then the demo. And I think that's it. So, a few things. I'm going to give it a minute or two and see if we can get any more people in here. Where is everybody? Oh, there we go. There's Caitlin. Just getting worried there. Okay, well, let's get started, I guess. I'm going to show you the last 2 days of warm-ups if you need them. Get in here. Okay, here we go. Okay, they should be, oh, you know what? I'm on camera, so they don't like that. Okay, here we go. So they will be the Monday and Tuesday one. So I think that's here. Okay, so here we go. And then I'll do this for a minute and then I will show you the other ones for a minute. So here we go on the clock. Okay, and then here's the next minute on this one. And again, just make an educational guess or wait until we go over the notes if you want, if you have to have a right answer, but don't Google it. Just use your brain and do the best you can. Oh my Lord. You're enough to drive you crazy. Okay, time is up.
You're muted if you're talking.
Dang it, I thought I was unmuted. I pushed that button. Darn it. Okay, sorry. Thank you, Caitlin. I did. I came over here and hit it. Must be I didn't hit it well enough. Okay. So what I was saying is that today we're going to do the digestive piece on your notes. So you'll need to go into Google Classroom and pull up those notes. I was showing you, that's what I was talking about. So your chapter 3 on nutrients becomes your guided notes. And then to have as a tab, you don't have to go back to Google Classroom, is your nutrient digestion in the small intestines, because we will work on that after we get through the notes. Okie dokie. That one is due today. So if you stay in the meet and you do it, I go over it the last 10 minutes and then you can get it turned in. Okay. So you'll work on it and then you'll turn it in. So you should be all set. And then this food breakdown, I'm going to push the deadline back because you guys won't do that until Friday. So I don't want you to think that you have to do it on your time, because it's got to be information that you know about, which I'm going to provide you with. And then what could be wrong, we'll do that on Friday as well. So these two you can wait till Friday. But the nutrition, digestion, and the small intestines we'll work on today. And then our guided notes, we're going to continue with those. Okay? Any questions you have right now in the chat? Or there's Mackenzie. I was worried about you.
My bad.
Oh,
My bad. I was doing my scheduling thing and then I realized it was 9:53.
That's funny. All right. Well, we did the warm-ups, but you can always do those on your own time. We are going right now into our guided notes because we're going to do a little bit on digestion today. So that's where I am. If I'm not presenting at any time, will you guys just let me know? Because first hour I was presenting, or I wasn't presenting and nobody told me, and oh my gosh. Okay. So anyway, I don't know how they got their notes done, but I guess it's on them if they didn't tell me I wasn't presenting. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you this link, and I have to hit on it, and then it's got to open, and then I have to come back in and I'm trying to pause it. Okay. All right, so then I have to come back in and just switch out of the mode I'm in and switch to the tab mode so that I can present to you and you can hear it and see it. So it's 5 minutes. It's not real long, but it's really good. It kind of talks about everything that we're going to be talking about. And so it's just a different platform for you to hear it. And then I'll go through the slides and you'll see from that perspective. So here we go on human digestion, 5 minutes video.
To describe the pathway and events that occur during digestion within the digestive system and its supporting glands. Digestion starts in the mouth, also known as the oral cavity, where mastication occurs. This is the process of chewing and mechanically breaking down the food bolus. Chemical digestion starts when the salivary glands release saliva into the oral cavity. Saliva is rich in amylase, an enzyme that breaks down carbohydrates. After the bolus has been broken down adequately, swallowing begins. The food bolus passes through the pharynx and into the esophagus. Peristalsis, which is rhythmic contractions of the muscle layers, pushes the bolus down the esophagus. The bolus passes into the stomach through the lower esophageal sphincter. This sphincter normally remains closed, preventing reflux of the stomach contents. The stomach is divided into anatomical regions: the cardia, fundus, body, and antrum. The muscular outlet of the stomach is called the pylorus. The surface of the lumen is covered in folds called rugae. Peristaltic contractions continue in the stomach, churning and mixing the food bolus with hydrochloric acid and the digestive enzyme pepsin. Neural and hormonal stimulation causes the release of pepsin by the stomach, which starts the chemical digestion of proteins. This helps reduce the bolus to a fluid-like substance called chyme. When the chyme reaches its proper softness, the pylorus opens and the chyme is slowly released into the first portion of the small intestine, called the duodenum. peristaltic contractions continue in the duodenum. It is within the duodenum that the chyme mixes with pancreatic juice and bile. The process of digestion causes neural and hormonal stimulation of the pancreas to release pancreatic juice. Specialized pancreatic cells produce the pancreatic juice. The juice contains digestive enzymes and bicarbonate. The major digestive enzymes are amylase, which digests carbohydrates, lipase, which digests fats, and protease, which digests proteins. When pancreatic cells release the juice, it flows through tiny pancreatic ducts, which lead to the main pancreatic and accessory pancreatic ducts. Then, the juice is released into the duodenum through the major and minor papillae, where it mixes with the chyme. In order to protect the pancreas, protease is released in an inactive form and is activated once it reaches the duodenum. Bicarbonate within the juice acts to neutralize the acidic chyme, which creates a favorable environment for the digestive enzymes to function. Located above and in front of the pancreas, the liver has many roles, including the maintenance of metabolic homeostasis. The liver maintains this because it receives most of the blood flow via the portal venous system from the small and large intestines. This blood contains nutrients absorbed during digestion. The liver processes these nutrients and vitamins and helps detoxify the blood passing through the portal venous system. Another role of the liver is the production of bile, which is a liquid that contains bile salts and other substances. Bile salts emulsify fat within the small intestine. Liver cells, known as hepatocytes, secrete the constituents of bile into tiny bile canaliculi, which flows into larger hepatic ductules that eventually combine to form the right and left hepatic ducts. Bile then flows into the common hepatic duct and cystic duct, where it enters the gallbladder to be concentrated and stored. During digestion, the gallbladder contracts and pushes the bile through the cystic duct and common bile duct, where they join the pancreatic duct at the hepatopancreatic ampulla. The bile then empties into the duodenum through the major papilla. The bile mixes with the chyme and helps to digest fat. The chyme continues to mix with the digestive enzymes as it moves through the duodenum and into the jejunum, the second portion of the small intestine. Nutrients from the digested food are absorbed into the bloodstream in the jejunum. The bolus moves through the jejunum and reaches the ileum, where there is more nutrient absorption. The unabsorbed portion of the bolus passes out of the ileum and into the large intestine through the ileocecal valve. The first portion of the large intestine is called the cecum. The main function of the large intestine is to absorb water and solutes, such as fatty acids, which help concentrate and form the stool. The bolus is pushed by a peristaltic wave up and through the ascending colon, which passes through the first major bend in the colon, the hepatic flexure. The bolus is now pushed through the transverse colon and then travels through the second major bend, the splenic flexure. Then the bolus moves down the descending colon and into the sigmoid colon before entering the rectum. The formed stool enters and is stored in the upper portion of the rectum. The anus contains anal sphincter muscles that remain tightly closed until neural input causes the rectum to widen. Then the stool descends, the anal sphincter relaxes, and defecation occurs.
Okay. All right, so this is in, where am I? This is where in first hour, it kicks me out, so I don't realize I'm not presenting, and then I wasn't the whole time. So I'm going to try to fix that this time around. So go to your notes, the guided notes in your Google Classroom, and we are going to add those today. And then there'll be a short assignment after I get through them, okay? And if you guys could just use the little hand signal when you are done with notes, and that kind of gives me an idea of when we're ready to move on to the next slide, okay? Okay, and then I do say some things. I'll tell you what I think is important for you to write down. So if that interests you, listen up. So you want to have the definition at the top about what digestion is. It's the process by which your body breaks down food and the nutrients in food to simpler substances. So the blood can carry these simpler substances to cells for use in growth, repair, and maintenance. And there's two types of digestion. There's mechanical and chemical. So mechanical is kind of when you crunch down on your food and you crush it up and it turns in your mouth. And then chemical is when enzymes are added to it called amylase. And we'll talk about that in the mouth. But when those enzymes are released with the acids, then it becomes chemical. So you have to know the difference between mechanical and chemical, which, I think it kind of makes sense. And then write down the definition of what an enzyme is, a type of protein produced by cells that cause specific chemical reactions, because that's going to be important to have. And then in digestion, enzymes can cause food particles to break apart into simpler substances. So it kind of helps break everything down so that it can be swallowed and go through the digestive system. Oh, we're good. Okay, and then oh, I'm sorry, what?
What about like the top part of the notes?
Like, what do you mean?
Like
Where's
the
it?
food, nutrients, and energy?
Oh, I thought we did that last time.
Oh, it must not be filled out online.
Okay, so where were you again? On
I'm
the
in the chapter.
are you where it says provides energy, or are you where it says energy values?
Like the top part, it's like 1, 2, 3, and it's like nutrient groups and then chemistry of nutrition.
Yeah, we did all that last time.
Okay.
And I think I have that on tape. Didn't we do that last time, guys?
I filled it out. It's just not on my document this time.
Oh. What do you think
Wait.
happened?
Is the one we're doing right now, is it the nutrient digestion in the small intestine?
That's the worksheet that we are going to be doing, but we haven't got there yet.
Wait, then what are we on right now?
We're on the guided notes, how nutrients becomes you, GN, guided notes.
I don't see that.
Are you in Google Classroom?
Yeah, I have food breakdown, what could be wrong, and nutrient digestion in the small intestine. I don't have that one.
Huh. Let me show you. Let's see. So if you look in here, I have it right here. Do you see this?
No, I don't have that. Is it what we did last week?
Yeah, we're adding to it.
I still don't see it. Why do I not see it? I don't know.
Anyone else have any thoughts? You want me to send it to you in an email?
Is the class note review the same thing as this?
No. Mm-mm.
Wait, was this already like graded? Is this the one that you already put in the grade book?
No.
I'm confused then. I don't know where that's at. It's not in my classroom.
Do you have where it says Q3, week 9?
Q3. Well, I'm in my assigned and it just says this week I have. Oh, okay. I guess there's no due date. I found it now. There's no due date on
Yeah,
it.
I didn't put a due date on it because we're not going to probably get to finish it until next week.
I think I did the class note review last week.
Yes, we did do that last week, correct. But that was over a portion of the notes that we did. And the chapter 3, how nutrients becomes you, is like the whole chapter notes that we're going to do.
Okay.
Okay, so how far in the how nutrients
So
become
we are right at where it says digestion.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
So, and if you need those notes, Mackenzie, they're in I taped. So they should be in the classroom stream. If you didn't get them. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I did what she did.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So, anyway, so it's okay to continue. Are we good? Are we all on the right page?
Yeah.
Someone-
I think
Okay,
so.
thank you. Okay. So this is the one I just read, and this is the one that I think that you should put, hold on. I think you need to put this in your notes along with this. And what an enzyme is, I think those are important key things to put in your notes. So I kind of simplified that slide for you. And then if you could give me a hand up telling me that you're ready to move on to the next one, that would be great. Okay. All right. This one, I don't really have a piece of it in your notes, but basically the GI tract is like the whole digestive system from mouth to anus. It's, if you can believe this, 25 to 30 feet long. Each section has different functions, but on the test, I have a multiple choice question where I have all these words kind of mixed up. So if you don't know the order of the organs of the digestive system, you should write them down. But if you think you can figure it out, then you're good. So it goes mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestines, large intestines. So if you don't have that down, I would write it down because it's on your test. And when you are good with this slide, give me one of those little blurps with your hand up. Thank you. Okay. So the next one is the mouth. And mastication is what I would write down. It's basically the chewing or the first step in digestion. That would be your mechanical digestion. It's breaking down the food, making it easier for your body to digest it. It does mix with saliva. So as soon as you, like if you were to walk into Panera or someplace that has a really good smells coming from it, your salivary glands will start to secrete saliva. And that saliva is an enzyme called amylase, AMYLASE. And that's going to basically help break down the starches in the food and make it easier for the food to pass down the esophagus. One thing that I would put on your notes, and I forgot to mention this first hour, but the little flap of skin that keeps your food going down your esophagus and not your trachea is called your epiglottis, okay? And so sometimes when you drink water really fast, that doesn't have enough time to shut off the trachea, and then you get some water down your trachea and you cough and sputter and, are trying to breathe. So just make sure that you know that that little flap in there is called your epiglottis. And then give me a hand when you're ready to move on. Okay. Hold on, I'm going to highlight this because, whoops, that's important. Okay. All right, the esophagus. You need to know that it's your passageway between your mouth and stomach. It's about 10 inches long. It does have those muscles that are involuntary that kind of squeeze the food all the way down to your stomach, and it's called peristalsis. So I would definitely have that term in your notes. And involuntary just means you don't control it. It's not something that you sit and think about doing. Just like breathing is involuntary, you don't sit there and think about breathing every time. If that was the case, we'd all be just sitting thinking about breathing. Our body automatically does that for us. So it's considered involuntary. Voluntary is things that you have control over, like your muscles. You can move things, pick things up, that kind of thing. When you're ready, give me the hand signal. Somebody's fast. Supersonic. All right. You need to know that the stomach does produce gastric juices to aid in digestion, and those come in the forms of acids, enzymes, and mucus. Enzymes and acids break down food, and the mucus softens and lubricates it. And all that is called chyme. Okay, so a definition for chyme would be gastric juices mixed with the chewed food. Your stomach really does hold about a quart of food, and it takes about 2 to 3 hours for you to digest all that's in the stomach. If someone has gastric bypass, some of their stomach is cut away, and then the esophagus is then attached to wherever the new opening will be. And so they can only eat like maybe a half cup of food each sitting. And because they're not getting all the nutrients, because, and only a half a cup of food is not a ton of nutrients for your body, they probably will have to take some kind of vitamin supplement, mineral thing, type of supplement, because they're just not providing the body with everything that it used to have. Their liquids are going to digest first. Obviously, that makes perfect sense. And then fat is more complex, so it's going to leave last. And then give me your blurp, your hand signal. Pepsin also breaks down protein in the stomach, if you need to know that. And then as the video talked about, hydrochloric acid is part of that juices that breaks it down. Thank you. Okay. 95% of digestion takes place here. Write that down because it's going to be in our little worksheet we're going to do. There are 3 sections to your small intestines. They're roughly about 20 feet in length and about 1 inch in diameter. They are called the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. And those are the 3 sections of the small intestines. It does take 5 to 14 hours to move through the small intestines. Obviously, 20 feet is a long trip. So it takes a little bit of time. Again, peristalsis is being used to move that food along. There are specific organs that do aid in digestion when it comes to the small intestines. So you have the pancreas that adds digestive enzymes, which are, for protein, it's called protease. For fat, it's called lipase. And for carbs, it's called amylase. So they take a part in secreting those enzymes in the small intestines to further break down and process those foods. And then the liver adds bile, and that's going to break down fats. And then they did talk about bicarbonate, which helps neutralize the chyme because it's pretty highly acidic. And so it neutralizes that. So it doesn't hurt the lining of the small intestines. Okay, large intestines are also known as the colon, and they basically reabsorb all the water and leave the solid behind. Little digestion goes on here, but that trip is about 5 to 6 feet long, and it will take the chyme approximately 1 to 3 days before it's eliminated. And then solid waste is the result from all the digestion, and it's going to eliminate it as feces or stool, however you want to look at it. Okay. So, does anybody need any of the information? Did I go too fast? Do I need to go back? Are you good? Tell me what I can do.
Can we go back one?
Yes. This one?
Yeah. Okay, I'm good.
All right. Are you good for this one too?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if we go back into Google Classroom, you want to go to where it says nutrient digestion in the small intestines. I'm still presenting, right? Okay, good. Okay, so here's what I want to show you. I took pictures of the text that will help you with this information. And you can also use your notes because some things you can find there. But let's talk about the worksheet really quick. Okay, for this grid part here, and if you want to work in partners, we can do that on in the Google Meet here if you want to. I can do that for you. So this first part, these first 3 boxes, okay, you are going to find that on your resource. So you look at this. In slide number 2, just trying to wait for it to load here. Okay, in slide number 2, those first 3 boxes, use your little magnifier. In those first 3 boxes, it says, these enzymes break down protein, fat, and carbs into their most basic parts. So amino acids are the most basic part of protein. So that first box on the top where it says protein, you're going to write amino acids. And then monosaccharides are the most basic part of carbohydrates. So in the second box under carbs, you're going to put monosaccharides. And then it says that fatty acids, glycerols, and monoglycerols are the most basic part of fat. So you're going to write that under where it says fat. And then the next 3 boxes are asking about the enzyme. So protease is breaking down protein. And it breaks it down into amino acids, but you only have to have protease there. Lipase are fat digestive enzymes, which break them down into fatty acids, glycerols, and monoglycerols. So you just need lipase. And then saccharides are going to break down carbohydrates into the monosaccharides. So that the second section, that's what goes there. Okay. And then when you go to the questions, go back to the first slide. And this talks about the stomach, okay? Then if you scroll down, it talks about the small intestines. And then the third slide talks about the large intestines. And your very last question, question number, I want to say 15, you get the answer right in here, okay? And then the last 10 minutes of class, I'm going to go over the worksheet. So I need you to do it and be able to respond when I ask for a answer. And if you want to work with somebody, put in the chat and I'll put you guys in a group if you want. Just let me know who you want to group up with. Or you can do it on your own. It's up to you. Just let me know in the chat. Okay, so I'm assuming you all want to work by yourself. Which is fine. All right, I'm going to come back at 10:30 and we're going to go over the answers together. All right. So you want me to go over the table? Hello? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I like clicked into my Google Classroom. I can't see you guys' comments. Okay. Where was I? Okay. Oh, it might help if I present my screen to you. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I think I got it. All right. So the table is on slide 2. So in the Google slide 2. And the first 3 boxes, hold on, I'm waiting for this to load. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So the first 3 boxes pertain to the enzymes that are the basic parts. So like if you start reading where this highlight is and go through, it'll tell you what the first 3 boxes are at the top. And then if you start at protease right here, it'll tell you the enzymes that are in the second boxes at the bottom for protein, carbs, and fat. Does that make sense? I'm looking at the chat, so you can put yes in there now, or you can unmic if you have further questions. Yes, no, still lost. Okay. All right. So when it says the basic parts of fats, carbs, and protein, right here it says that amino acids are the most basic part of protein. So you go to the chart and they want the basic end product of digestion. That's kind of a weird title, but they want you to put amino acids right here. Okay, and then the next one is monosaccharides are the most basic part of carbs. So in right here, you're going to put monosaccharides. And then under fat, if you look, it says fat is, there's 3 of them. There's fatty acids, glycerols, and monoglycerides. So that goes right here. And then it talks about the enzymes. So you read a little bit further and it talks about protease being the protein enzyme. And then if you go to fat, it talks about lipase being the fat digesting enzyme. And then under carbs, it talks about saccharides. So here is where you're going to put protease, lipase, and then, or sorry, I think I'm doing these in the wrong order, but carbohydrates are the saccharides, fats are the lipase, and protein is the protease. Okay, now how are you doing with that? Zach, did you get the other ones?
You said that fats are the lipase one?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
and that's the enzyme.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else need anything for that table that I can help you with?
What were the other 2 for the fats? It was the monoglycerides, and then what were the other 2?
Are you doing the top squares or the bottom squares?
The top square. The one,
Okay.
monoglycerides.
Right,
and then
right. Okay. So the top square for carbohydrates is amino acids. Wait, no. Break down protein, fat. Okay, yeah. Yep. So the basic part, amino acids are the most basic part of protein. So under protein, put amino acids. Monosaccharides are going to be the carbs.
Yep, and then the fat one.
Yes. There you go.
Well, no, what's the fat one? I don't know the other 2.
Fatty acid, glycerol, and monoglycerides.
Okay. No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Hopefully everyone else is as good as you are. I don't know. Nobody wants to talk to me. Okay, so hopefully that helped. Obviously, if you're still on the squares, then I will give you 5 more minutes to work on the remaining. Oh, a hand's up. Go ahead. Question? Oh, you did finish. Oh, okay. All right. Well, Mackenzie was just on the squares. I don't know if she had any time to get the rest of it done.
I have a few random ones, but could we go over it?
Yeah, so let's give it just a few more minutes just to see if you can get a few more. And then we will, yeah. So Zach, I don't know, is that your hand or is that Caitlin's hand?
It's Brandon's, but I don't know.
Oh, it's clear over there? That's kind of odd. If anyone has a question, feel free to unmute and ask. All right, so we'll go over this at 10:35.